Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, we're going to talk about a major angle that has been scrapped from AEW.
A title match at WrestleDream was nearly very different.
A couple of AEW's shows could be cancelled.
And Leo Rush is All Elite. Again. I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm very happy about that one.
Me too. And this is the news.
All right, let's talk about a major angle that was scrapped from WrestleDream this weekend. That was the debut of Bob Lashley.
Yeah.
If you were watching the Swerve Strickland segment where he returned to the company, announced he'd been medically cleared, got into a bit with MVP, turned MVP down. Shelton Benjamin took his jacket off, looked like he was ready to fight. You might have been thinking that the next logical beat in that segment would have been Bobby Lashley coming out and kicking some ass.
Yeah.
That did end up happening, although it had been reported prior to the show that it was on the cards. Mm-hmm. The reason that didn't happen is simple. AEW wanted to save it for a time when it would stand out more on its own. Ibu of Wrestle Purists was the first to notice this, to report this, to notice this. What am I on about? He posted, the Bobby Lashley return angle was delayed to allow for it to stand out, and AEW felt they had enough big angles at WrestleDream and didn't want it to be lost in the shuffle. So yeah, they had the Adam Cole returned, MJF returned, they had the big main event angle, which has gotten everyone talking as well. Fightful has some other details on this. They confirmed that the debut was considered for WrestleDream, but they decided against it. When Fightful asked about Lashley not being on the show, I'll just read the exact wording. We were told, considering that the likely debut would have resulted in Swerve being laid out or attacked, it's not likely two hometown beatdowns would have worked out well with the way the show ended.
Yeah.
They're both from Washington, you know.
Have Darby Allin lose as well, sod it.
Yeah, why the hell not? Why the hell not?
Screw you, Seattle.
Bryan Danielson is from the second greatest city in the world, as we know. You know what the first greatest is.
Chesterfield's a town. Are you aware of that?
It's got a weird spire for us.
It's got
like the Leaning Church of Chester.
Sorry, this weekend it still looks magnificent.
I've seen it on the train several times. It's something else. Fightful add that, as expected, Bobby Lashley is expected to appear in the coming weeks, aligning with the Hurt Syndicate MVP and Shelton Benjamin. Lashley's not been seen backstage as of yet, which I think is a good thing because it kind of... I like the idea of a guy like who's debuting showing up like 2 minutes before they go out there, right? I like that kind of rush and then all of that. But yeah, you're going to see him, just not yet.
I wonder if it's going to be on Dynamite later on this week. But yes, like you say, it was a very eventful show. Bryan Danielson died. And of course, the return of MJF and Adam Cole. It was a very newsworthy show. It's understandable that they think, actually, let's save that, whether it be Full Gear down the road or I sense a TV on the road to Full Gear beforehand. I mean, it's inevitable that he's coming in and he's going to kick some ass. I wonder if the plan initially was the Darby Allin Open Challenge and then things were changed, but we're never going to know the truth of that sort of thing until people just stop telling the truth all the time. They have to take that truth serum.
Speaking the truth.
Exactly.
That's what they need to do.
But yeah, I'm just really excited for when he comes in, whenever that is. But like you say, I saw Andrew Pollard's news yesterday, and it was already very eventful with the MJF, Adam Cole, and Bryan Danielson stuff. So yeah, it's not like there's not much to talk about following WrestleDream, which we will of course be reviewing live on the WhatCulture Wrestling podcast channel later on today.
I think saving it for TV is a good idea as well. Like, I get it, it's pay-per-view, it's the big show, but also TV is usually where you have the majority of your big angles and stuff in terms of like debut. If anything that makes Dynamite feel like more of appointment viewing, I think is good for the company. So
it could be a very bad time for someone I'm going to be talking about a little bit later on today, if that is the case. But before we get to that, let's talk about another match that happened at AEW WrestleDream. The tag team titles are on the line. It's the Young Bucks versus Private Party. 5 years in the making, of course. The Young Bucks retained, but according to Fightful Select, there were some within AEW who were calling for Private Party to win the tag titles against the Young Bucks at WrestleDream. They came incredibly close, of course, but in the end, I think it was the right call for the Young Bucks to retain.
This wasn't the right story for Private Party to beat the Young Bucks. I mean, they only just put the pot on the stove when you got to the pay-per-view. If you were going to pull the trigger on Final Party? Sure. On Private Party winning the belts, it needed to be at the end of a 3-4 month build.
Yeah.
It needed to be, hey, we were cornerstones of this division in day one. We were supposed to be the next big thing, but we've fallen on harder times. We've not won a lot of matches this year. We've kind of lost our way a little bit. And then it should be them gradually building and building and building. This, it just felt like they decided it in 2 weeks, decided to fast forward through that story. It wasn't the right timing.
Yeah, beating the Iron Savages shouldn't mean that, right, well, they need to win the tag titles. Nothing against the Iron Savages.
Yeah, like the Iron Savages are fun, but I think you need to do a bit more to win that title and for it to be convincing. Now, I'm not against them. This loss could be the first step on that story.
Stokely Hathaway seemed very happy about it.
Exactly. He's gonna swoop in and work his little magic. He's quite short, isn't he, Stokely?
Compared to me, everyone is, but yes.
Yeah. Well, two giants of the game over here. But yeah, he's gonna work his magic, and this loss could be a beat in that story. If you want to do it 3 or 4 months down the line, the Young Bucks could spend the next 3 or 4 months going, "Ha, told you so, you guys. You're not on our level," and then you could build to it. But it needed more build. I'm okay with this. I do think, however, they've done some good stuff. I think Zay is improving a lot on the microphone.
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed the little promo with Amazing Red, their trainer.
Yeah, that was good.
And the new entrance music is great. So they've done some good things. This should be step 1 or 2 rather than the end. For me.
Absolutely. The end, of course, being the Outrunners win the tag team titles. I will keep saying this until it happens.
Hell yeah, baby. Let's go. Let's see them in a proper feud. I want to see the Outrunners in a big story next. They rule.
They're just so good. And I think even if it's just a little one where you put the tag titles on them for a bit and then a heel team, whether it be newly healed FTR when that eventually happens, despite the fact that Dax has dyed his mustache and what have you, or whether it be an actual push for the GYV. What is going on with them, I don't know. But I just really would think it would be fun, even just for a brief run, to have the Outrunners as tag team champions and give them more promo time.
They're really over and they're really good.
Love them.
Youngest men alive. We're the second youngest,
yes.
I've heard. Maybe we should team up with the Outrunners at some point. I don't know what we would do.
As always, open invitation. I'd love to interview them.
Yeah, let's get them on. Right. Let's talk about a couple of AEW shows, the future of Rampage and Battle of the Belts, everyone's favourite AEW shows. Dave Meltzer has been on talking about their future. I'll read you his quotes. It's in Dave, so you might need to translate them.
It's in Dave.
But I say that with love. As far as will there be Battle of the Belts and will there be Rampage, that is not in this deal. He's of course talking about the new TV deal, which we kind of knew already.
Yeah.
AEW are open to shopping this stuff around. Rampage may not be around any longer. Not sure, but the date could just be a couple more weeks, or it could be the end of the year. He also talked about AEW potentially introducing Shockwave, which has been shopped around to a bunch of different networks. Here's a quote on that. There are at least 2 sets of talks out there for other stuff, but I don't know if any of them are imminent. He also talked about international growth. That's a big priority for AEW in 2025, apparently. They want to get a bunch of new international deals in place. That's why they recently signed a deal with Fox Sports Mexico. That is an example of what they're trying to do. WWE's on that station, so good stuff. He also spoke a bit more about trying to target the Mexican market. They're going to do some more lucha stuff, which is why you had the 2 out of 3 falls match on the pay-per-view, because that's the lucha way. An American wrestling fan who's not watched much lucha might have looked at Hologram versus Beast Mortos and go, why is that 2 out of 3? Well, the answer is because it was a lucha libre match, and that is very, very common in Mexico. So there you go. Rampage and Battle of the Belts may not be long for this world. I would say that Rampage has, it's the 3rd most important AEW weekly show, which does, and they don't really do a lot to change that perception. Battle of the Belts, how many title changes have there been in that show since its inception?
I have flat out refused to cover Battle of the Belts. I said we will not be reviewing it, me and Sige, whenever they have it, unless there is a title change on that show. And I think there was maybe an interim title win for Sammy Guevara on there, and maybe 1 title change alongside that.
It was a Ring of Honor tag team or trios.
Yeah.
My memory is bad, but yeah.
Yeah, 1 in whatever, 13, 12 shows, or however many it's been is ridiculous. Get rid of both of them for me. Completely inessential viewing. I don't bother with them anymore, even though we cover this company for our jobs, because nothing really major happens. And if it does, it is merely a blip on the radar. It annoys me sometimes when they build stuff up on Dynamite and say, and that match, and I know why they do it, because obviously it's going to happen immediately after afterwards for the crowd in attendance.
Yeah.
And that match is going to happen on Rampage, and I think that's a shame I missed that match, but oh well.
Well, I think that...
If it's a good match, I'll watch it, obviously.
Yeah, this is it. Like, I think, like, if a good match... Like, I always watch stuff... Like, I just watched The Butcher and Beast Mortos. Like, if something interests me, I'm going to watch it. Like, I don't think it matters what show it's on. If it's a good match, it's a good match. But at the same time, like, they rarely do much to make Rampage appeal to people who have busy schedules, like wrestling fans who are already picking and choosing a little bit. And I think that if Shockwave comes along, it needs to be more than these shows. Definitely, 100%. Look, the proof is in the numbers with this stuff. When we talk about not covering it and stuff, we did the Rampage Ups and Downs video for a while. Not enough people watched it. It had to go. Same with Battle of the Belts. They're low interest products. So Shockwave has to be bigger.
Yeah, exactly. Especially, like you say, 2B was being mentioned, wasn't it, with Shockwave, I think?
Yes, sir.
You've obviously already got Collision as well. Yeah, I don't need 4 shows a week from AEW.
Imagine.
I'd rather keep up with AEW, to be perfectly honest. I love that show. And, I just think, if for someone like yourself, it's not part of your weekly viewing, is it? Like, you have to watch Raw and Dynamite and stuff just for our jobs, because we talk about it the next day and stuff. But, like, you're just sat there on a Saturday morning, you're not like, I've got to make sure I catch up on what happened on Rampage. Like you say, you'll watch the good matches, but I just think it's really lost its necessity nowadays.
Definitely.
I hope they give Collision a bit of a shot in the arm as well, because I know it's just really enjoyable as, like, a fun wrestling show, but I want more essential stuff to happen on that show, because I enjoy Collision.
I wish it was just a little bit more like WCW Saturday Night.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost there, just amplify it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd enjoy that.
Right, let's stick with AEW and talk about Lio Rush, who's All Elite again.
Good.
This was confirmed on a digital exclusive released over the weekend. The lovely Alicia, too, friend of the channel, was chatting with Roosh, and it was revealed that
Roosh.
It's because it's written on its own. He's Lio Rush, and then the other one's also written the same.
Easy tag team.
Lio Rush.
Yeah.
Jake, you've got a new client right there, mate. Rush. God damn my brain. Has signed his second contract with the company. Obviously, last one was from September of 2021 till February 2022. He announced his free agency. But Lio Rush told Alicia too, this right here means a lot of people are getting put on notice. I'm All Elite. I'm back in AEW. He was also interrupted by MVP and Shelton Benjamin, who was asking where Tony Khan was. And then MVP asked if Rush was available on Wednesday, potentially setting up a match. My slight concern that I alluded to earlier is you have Lio Rush versus Shelton Benjamin, which would be loads of fun.
Yes.
But I'm worried that would be the moment that Bobby Lashley comes in and kills Lio Rush, because he'd be fun to throw around.
Yeah. I love Lio Rush.
Me too.
I think Lio Rush is a brilliant professional wrestler. I think that there are very few wrestlers in the world of Lio Rush's size who work to their size so well.
Yeah.
He's just brilliant at, like, evading larger wrestlers and working in exciting, flashy, high-flying style, but with a great deal of substance as well. I'm a huge believer in Lio Rush. I'm really glad that he's back, like, under full-time contract in American wrestling.
Yeah.
Where loads of people get to watch him. And I think involving him in that storyline makes sense, because he has the ties to Bobby Lashley. From back in the day.
Show him the glutes!
It was good stuff, apart from, that era was a bit strange.
It was.
I can't imagine that creative came from either Lashley or Roosh. Roosh, I've done it now too! La Facción de Ingobernable, they're feuding with Bobby Lashley.
I'd have Bobby Lashley do the... do you remember when Pac Neville came back in WWE when he turned heel and someone had won a title and he came in and went... and just punched him in the face?
Yeah, straight away, bang! That was great stuff. I'm a big Lio Rush fan.
Yes,
and,
we're not advocating for violence against him. Sorry, Leo. He's a friend of the channel. We've bumped into him at Switch in Disco. We've interviewed him. Yeah. Lovely man. Great chops on him as well. He can talk for the world.
Absolutely. So, I think there's a star there, and I'm excited for his run. Very much so.
Good luck on Wednesday. Stay safe, mate.
Yeah.
But yes, a good re-signing.
Definitely.
So excited to see what they do with him. He's with Top Flight, Action Andretti stuff he's been doing, of course.
Yes,
recently.
and Action Andretti's been showing a bit of I'm unhappy with this arrangement recently. So there's some interesting stuff going on in that camp too.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Nice.
Excited to see what happens next with that. Let us know your thoughts on everything we've discussed. All things AEW in the comment section below. We'll be back later on today with another news story talking about Bryan Danielson, of course. But for now, this video, check it out right now.
Can't hold it up.